Yeah.
Hello.
we should start the call like that every week. Just Pat going, hello.
Hello.
I just want to start the call by saying I hope everyone's all right.
That's it. I quit.
Yep. Now we've all got to go home. Bye.
Bye.
You've really done it this time, Alex.
The inconvenience of this week is having a film club.
Well,
A sentient film club.
damn.
Anyone just casually watching this is just going to be like, what the fuck is this?
You know, the thing I really enjoy about this is I've got an excuse to drink beer because I won't be drinking alone.
Well, you say that, but it's also Royal Rumble night, which is another excuse to drink beer.
I'll have another drink.
Yeah, another excuse. It begins.
Jeez, everyone's getting wasted. What? No.
On pineapple.
Alec isn't.
On mango rum.
No, I am.
Oh, okay.
Mango rum.
This video is not sponsored by Dead Man's Fingers.
Or Stella Artois, or whatever the fuck Pat's drinking.
Budweiser.
Or apple juice in a vase.
Nobody better lay a butterfinger on my butterfinger.
Butterfinger.
Oh my goodness.
Classic.
Come on, Emmanuel, what's your brand?
Well,
So,
Nothing.
oh,
Man.
well
That-
Rob,
that
I'm
is
going
it.
to roll over you.
Oh shit! Did I not bring a drink in?
Oh, no.
Damn it, Rob.
Oh no, I
I'm just
did.
going to go and get some milk.
I did bring a drink in. I've got a Fanta grape.
Oh, Fanta grape.
oh,
Nice.
Fanta grape. Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's
do
zero,
love-
though.
I love a Fanta
You
grape.
know what? The Fanta Zeros are actually all right. Like, yeah,
They're great.
I mean, I haven't tried the Coke Zero for a long time, but I've hated that so much. But yeah, no, I got the Fanta grape ones the other day because it sounds like a sponsorship now, but I got the Fanta grape ones the other day because
Did it change your life?
well, you could only get the zero ones, and I thought, you know what, I'd
Yeah.
like to try Fanta grape, so I'll just try the zero one. It's turned out all right. I quite like it.
It's really nice. But you can only really get in Tesco, which is really annoying.
Oh, I get it from Sainsbury's.
Oh, you do? Oh.
that
did you
just sounded
know?
so scripted.
All right, let's go on with this.
Great Scott.
Yeah.
Scott.
So, I picked Back to the
Humphrey,
Future.
why did you pick this fucking
I'm
film?
just gonna say, Ah! because it's one of my, it's one of my all-time favorite films. It's just one of them films I grew up with, and I've loved it ever since. I was trying to think when was the first time I watched it, and I can't remember. So I must have been under 10, or it was crazy. But yeah, I just loved the film, and just everything about it. It's just I can't really put into words how much I love the film.
It's
Oh,
good.
How
that's
much I
nice.
love the film. Yeah, because I was thinking about it as the film was ending, and I was kind of getting a little bit emotional because it was like one of the happy times in my life, which
Oh.
when I used to watch it a lot. So it's kind of one of the things. That's probably why I've got so much shit to do with Transformers. It's like I've got fucking posters, I've got Transformers, Lego, just everything.
You know, Transformers isn't.
And it's
Latest.
Back to the Future.
Well,
The end of
Another
the-
to
one bites the
reconsider
dust.
this one.
Say this, but I've
You-
got
It's
Back
not
to
out of
the
the box
Future.
though. You'd have to get them out of the box.
Ah, really,
Mm.
really.
right, sorry,
Right.
I'm just going to leave and come back in.
Look
And there goes
what
Alec.
you've done.
Oh my god.
Oh, no, everyone's leaving.
Compared Back to the Future to Transformers, that ended Alec.
But yeah, like I love it, and I watched it again today because I found that sometimes when you watch films too much, you kind of get a bit sick to death of them. I found it with like Terminator 2. I watched it so many times, I actually found it a bit boring in the end.
It depends how much is how much, you know.
I mean, like a lot. Like
Like Pat watching I don't know, Con Air.
Yeah.
On air will never get boring.
Bi-weekly until he picks it.
Put the bunny down.
Put the Humphrey back in the film club.
I haven't left. But yeah, so it's one of them films where I've just and then I watched it today and it was like, yeah, I fucking love this. If I could give it more than 10, I'd have give it 11.
88 out of 10.
I would have given it more numbers because it's even though I was thinking about it as well, there's bits in it that are a bit iffy. Like the whole mum bit is a bit.
I don't actually mind the mum bit, if I'm honest. Like, I just because it's always the thing that people bring up, but I don't know. I feel like the film's innocent enough to get away with it.
Yeah, 100%.
The thing is, I was watching a video. Literally, as I was watching the film, I kind of watched half of it, and then when I finished watching the film, then I watched the other half. And they said that part of the film, people didn't really get too funny about it.
Mm.
It's like one person, was it the bloke who did the documentary on it? His mum, when I watched it, and was like, "Oh, there's this bit where the son falls in love with his mum," and I'm just like, "Wait a minute, this statement's wrong," because it was his mum that fell in love with him. But yeah, so that bit's a bit weird. But if you take away that, it's great.
I don't think you even need to be honest. Like, I mean, it's yeah, like I said, I feel like the film's innocent enough that it's not like super weird. I mean, obviously it's a bit weird just because of what it is, but yeah, I don't think it's that bad.
I think it kind of gives it a little bit of like that kind of a bit of a dark comedy aspect, because it's like he's trying his hardest not to, like, yeah, it's really fucking horrible situation, but yeah, it kind of makes it a little bit funny as well.
Speaking of, sorry, I obviously missed the connection between this and Transformers.
Yeah.
I got a fucking Transformer DeLorean.
Oh.
And they made a comic as well.
Basically, full circle, you could say.
I could say full circle. I probably won't.
Or full square in Dan's case.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So yeah. So I love the film. I can tell you my favorite part of the film before everyone else's, because I fucking love it. It's the bit when the car's revealed.
When the car's revealed, did you say?
Yeah, like it's just the sound gets me every time. It's just like, just like that.
I was really afraid you were going to say Lee Thompson's shoulders.
No.
No.
Yeah, when the car's revealed and that sound, so good. Yeah. So that's my bit.
See you next week.
It's my favourite film. It changed my life. I loved it when the car went whoosh.
Pretty much the whole. And I remember when I see it at the Secret Cinema at Stratford, and they had the car going around, and it was just like, this is heaven.
Oh, did it go whoosh? Fuck yeah!
I think.
Oh yeah, the Secret Cinema was really good.
Yeah.
Knowingly, I missed my chance to get on the party bus, but otherwise, it was cool to see them recreate the car, like going back into the future scene with the fire and the car go. That was pretty nice.
What a great whoosh that was.
Even the bit with the Libyans was great, because it was like not in the film but in the Secret Cinema, because everyone was sitting in like a square watching the film on the clock tower, and the Libyans were chasing Marty around the square of people. They go, and he's like, oh, too good. But yeah. So that's pretty much it.
Whoosh.
Flawless time travel.
Oh, I don't know about flawless.
That's a pretty big claim.
No film has flawless trucks.
No, but the thing is, I love the film so much, I don't give a shit how kind of.
That's not the same thing as flawless, is it?
No, but I was joking, Alex.
No, you weren't.
No, it's the fact of like, all these bits that didn't really make any sense, or like, no, that won't work. It's just, I don't care. I love it too much for me to give shit about the fact that when he changes the timeline, that everything goes back to how it was, but slightly different, which wouldn't happen.
Would it?
Why wouldn't it?
Well,
Yeah. It's time travel is fictitious.
No.
But no
That's-
one knows
no,
how
no,
it
no, no.
happened.
because I
That's
think
not
that,
a thing.
I think
There-
the main one is in the second film where he goes back and and then he goes back to the future, and it's like a shit alternative reality.
Flashpoint.
And then
Yeah.
he then goes back to fix it, and it goes back to how it was. And I'm just like being an adult and understanding how these things work. It's like,
Yeah, to be
not
fair,
gonna
no
work.
matter what you change, things would be different no matter what you do.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm sensing that Rob's about to bring up about time.
Oh no. We'll leave that buried in the past. Like that's, I never want to think about that film again.
About damn time.
What's that film?
Never heard of it.
It's
Nobody
about
here picked that, so you know.
a
Oh, it
ghost
doesn't
that travels
exist.
back in time for some reason.
It doesn't exist. It's been erased from history.
Well,
Oh,
wherever it
cool.
is, I hope it's okay.
No, I must admit, when I was scoring this, I got to purpose, and I was like, I kind of thought back to About Time, and I was like, as a time travel movie, 10. Like, if that's our standard so far, 10 for
Yeah.
sure. But yeah, no, there are things that, like, I don't know. I think there's points where the film kind of like makes you ask questions that you don't need to ask, and that kind of breaks little bits, like the bit where he comes back to the point where Doc's about to be shot by the Libyans, and then he sees himself travel off, and then after that he just goes back to having like a normal life with his family. I was kind of going like, but what about the other Marty that just like traveled? Like, what if that Marty then comes back and then there's two Martys, and then like just little bits like that.
Well, we thought about that, and then we went, "What the hell?" And then we do the uplifting music. That moment in general just felt really fucking weird to me. Just like, Doc, you said never to look back and no, to like look forward, whatever. He said, no, don't fuck with time travel. And he was like, yeah, well, I thought, what the hell? And I was like, and I was like, oh.
The thing is, it was all about
Clearing up,
himself
I
as
am.
well. And that's like, if he survives, what? Who knows?
Yeah.
Sorry, I think I'm lagging out. I'm not trying to talk over anybody.
No, sorry. I
No.
think, to be fair, Rob's the only one that's lagging for me.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah, same.
This is Rob's video is that his audio is fine though.
It's
Right,
really
let me see if
choppy.
I'm on the right.
You're
Oh, I'm
really
on the right
choppy, Rob.
internet. That's weird. Oh, I don't know why that is then. It's normally because I'm connected to the kitchen rather than the router in here, but I'm not.
Connected to the kitchen.
Yeah, I've got like this is a stupid thing, right? So I've got a Wi-Fi extender in the kitchen, and my laptop always goes for the Wi-Fi extender, which is like 2 rooms away, rather than the router, which is like there.
Surely it should go to the most powerful connection first, right?
You'd think so.
This things happens.
To the router.
You need
Yeah,
to get
sorry. Oh, man, that was good. Back to the router. But no, just the music threw me off in that moment, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm getting really misty eyed. He just decided he didn't give a fuck about it.
There'll be no sequels otherwise.
Yeah, that's good.
True. But the stupid thing is they didn't plan to make a sequel. So that's why there was such a long gap between 1 and 2. Because they didn't plan, and then because it was such a success, they got pressured into making another one, and then
They didn't
made a
plan to
trilogy.
make a sequel.
No. So the end of it was just supposed to be that was it.
That was
Oh.
just an open-ended ending, even though it sets up
Yeah.
for a sequel so well.
Yeah, they just didn't plan to do it, and then they got pressured into it by the box office. Oh,
Because they just dropped the girlfriend in the second one, don't they? If I remember correctly,
Oh, they do actually, yeah.
they just bring her back, and then she just bye.
because what happens is Crispin Glover and the girlfriend, they had issues. I can't remember what they had. They didn't want to be in the sequel so they change. But Crispin Glover,
Yeah, that's true.
or his dad, is only in the second film like for about no
About
more
5
than
minutes.
five,
He's,
5
he's
minutes.
like he's upside down, isn't he? And you don't really see his face properly. So
He looks similar, but he
Hmm.
doesn't actually. If you didn't really notice, you would have thought it was him. But he's
Hmm.
yeah. So there's
but does Glover come back in part 3?
no, none of them.
So it's just the mum.
Yeah, the
What's her
mum's
face?
the only one who's and Biff
Yeah, and Biff Tannen. Yeah, he's great.
and Strickland. He's always. in
Oh
it,
yeah,
too.
yeah. The teacher, headmaster.
I love the fact that in 1955 he looks exactly the same.
Yeah, just bald the whole time.
They didn't even try and make him look younger or anything. He just looked the same. Because that's the great thing about the film is they made all the actors look really old.
Because they didn't fancy making an effort.
Yeah, I think that what makes it like funnier because he's just in there in the minds of his dad and himself. Marty sees this guy and he's never changed.
Yeah.
I love the idea that this guy's just like he's just had this whole career as a teacher and he's like seen I don't know he's on like the second generation of McFly and he's just like fuck you guys I really hate you for like no reason at all. I fucking hate you.
He's actually a vampire because he never ages.
That'd be quite a
Sure.
spin-off.
Oh God, no.
I've
Big
gained the
thanks.
power of immortal life. I will now grief these people. Who go to
Gonna
the
make
same
your life hell.
school.
I've lived for 200 years of making people's life hell.
Oh, I meant to ask, wasn't this the set that was used in Gremlins? Didn't they? Am I remembering that right? Did they reuse the
Yeah,
set?
you might be
Back to the
right,
Future?
actually.
I think it was around the same time. So, it was because Gremlins had finished and came out just before Back to the Future. But yeah, they probably would have reused it.
I think I remember that being like trivia, because Lee Thompson's mum is Billy Peltzer's mum.
Oh, wow. So apparently the set was actually built in 1948 for a film called An Act of Murder. And it is,
Oh.
yeah, it's used in both. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's cool.
yeah. So now we need to have a recurring sets tab.
Oh my God. Oh my God. This could be very rare.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting, actually, because, yeah, Steven Spielberg produced both of them, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He probably had his like clout to like let's just reuse this to save money. It's quite a good idea.
Oh, that's interesting. They both start with like similar shots of the set as well, thinking about it. It's just that one's at Christmas time and the other's not.
Hmm.
In fact, I've just found a side by side.
Oh, cool. So we have ultimate proof.
Yeah, I'll send it to the group.
Or you could just share it on the chat.
All right, I'll do that then.
So I don't have to change tabs.
Yeah, but you can multitask like certain people.
Wow, Ben.
Ben's
Yeah, there
going
it is.
hard.
Oh, so
wow.
it is the
Oh,
same
yeah.
Town Square. Sweet.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
obvious now. I think they hate it with the snow, so you got in the radar.
I didn't notice at the time, but as soon as Alex said
Yeah.
it, I had a thought of like the two establishing shots, and yeah, you can see it.
Oh yeah, the tree's the same outside the. Literally.
I hope the tree.
The only
the
bit that's subject to change.
well, it could be because you know.
Trees. Make like a tree and get out of here.
That's such a crap joke, but I was really enjoying that.
I was sat there like that joke don't make any sense.
You said it wrong.
But like
Because
when I was asking that question, I was laughing at the same time.
It's because he's meant to be saying make like a tree and leave, but he
Yeah.
keeps getting it wrong. That's
Yeah.
the joke.
That's
Oh, Patrick.
Oh, you're lagging out, Emmanuel.
I was confused as a kid. What's that? Isn't it leave?
Make
That was
like a
such a
tree
great-
and leaf.
That was such a great joke that Two of us didn't get it. So I feel like I'm going to be like a bit of a downer on this one. I don't love Back to the Future.
You can be the John this week.
I'm afraid. Oh, there's not really.
Oh,
There's not been a resident John
Who?
for months.
are you going to make like a tree and leave? Oh,
Make like a
No.
banana and split.
I'll make like a. No, it's all right. I was going to say I'll make like a French person and run far away.
To France.
Had you seen it before this week, Alec?
Yeah, I watched it once, and I remember going like, that was pretty good, and I've literally never thought of it ever again.
Oh,
I don't know. I remember like hearing about Rick and Morty as being like a parody of it, but yeah, other than that, I've never felt the need to revisit. So it's good. It's a good film, but I don't love it, and I genuinely find the bit when they're trying to line it up with the lightning strike. I find that sequence genuinely frustrating to watch.
excuse me.
I think it's just kind of like he's the lightning strike. They already sorry, I'm just gonna fucking start this. They've already like kind of gone about the lightning strike, and it struck precisely at 4 minutes past 10 or something. And it's like that's just something that's kind of taken as read, like it's just been reported in a newspaper as being like it was precisely then. But it's like no one writing a paper would have gone, it struck at like 30 seconds past 10 past midnight. And it's like it is a lot more poetic to say it happened precisely at that time. So it's like, right, so that's one variable. And then
But they knew because the clock stopped.
yeah, but there's no second hand.
Oh, the second's right, yeah.
Well, as long as they get there just roughly before that minute, then they can just wait.
That's not how lightning works.
Yeah, but still, it just happens at that exact
But-
moment.
But what I'm saying is, there's a whole
It's a
60
film,
seconds
Alex.
that it could have struck in. I know it's a
Yeah.
fucking,
fucking
you
film.
from-
Does it matter? It was
Yes.
a fucking awesome scene.
I'm already like, right, there's already a bit of a
Activity.
margin for error here. And then he's like, oh, it's okay. I've done like calculations to work out how fast you need to go when you need to leave. So as long as you go as soon as the alarm clock goes off, then we'll do it. And then he goes, okay, and he drives up to the end of the road, and then he's like, okay, cool. And then he like goes to do the ignition, and then it doesn't work, and he's like, oh my god. And I was like, right,
Yeah, that's wasted
okay.
time.
we're in
Yeah.
fucking trouble. And then oh god, the thing disconnects. So Doc Brown has to climb up the thing, and then he's like holding on, and then some lightning strikes, and then the rock that he's like standing on like falls away, and I'm like, stop it. And then he like connects it, but then the other bit disconnects, and I was like, stop it. And then
That's
like
tension. That's building tension.
yeah, I know, but then the clock goes off, and then Marty goes, oh please, and he like does the ignition, and then he starts and he goes,
That's it.
yay, and I'm like,
It
you've already
works.
fucked this up.
Yeah,
It's already
technically, realistically, they'd have missed their chance. The lightning would have struck, and none of them been ready.
yeah,
But-
and then he like ties the thing around, and then he does like a zip line, and then that end holds this time, but then he's got, and I was just every single facet of the plan goes absolutely wrong, and they still do it because actually it did happen at precisely that second that the lightning did actually strike, despite there being no second hand. So I'm just. I genuinely find that whole sequence really frustrating. I think it's just when he connects it and then the other bit disconnects and he's like, "Oh no!" And
Yeah.
I was just like, "Fuck!"
Or the fact that he connects them and he doesn't get electrocuted by it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
How does he not get-
He doesn't die from that.
yeah, and it's like these are all. I get it's doing tension. It's probably a problem that's very specific to me, but I'm just there's too many moving parts, and there's too many moving parts that just are broken
a
in this
bit like-
plan. And I'm like, you didn't do it, mate.
I was
I'm
gonna say,
sorry.
a bit like when he goes back 10 minutes earlier and then the car stops, so he has to run, and that's the 10
Oh
minutes.
yeah, and then he goes, "Oh, I can save him," 10 minutes will do. And I was like, give yourself 20.
But the key was
Yourself half an hour.
there,
Get
you
a
get there at the
McDonald's
right moment
first.
and
Like-
see the death of him. Oh, perceived death of Doc.
What one of my main questions is how the fuck did he get the plutonium? Because stealing plutonium
right.
ain't gonna be easy.
From the Libyans.
It's no, he doesn't steal it from the Libyans. He steals it and then
Yeah, true. He makes the
Promise-
bomb for the Libyans. Or
he promises
to.
them,
Hmm.
unless they helped him steal it.
Well,
I imagine they probably would have done.
yeah, they've said, here's your plutonium. Make us this bomb. Blah, blah, blah.
I imagine that's at least like a 3-person job.
Yeah.
'Cause that shit's dangerous.
I did like that opening shot though. I really like that little continuous, and you kind of just panning around his like home, and you got all the clocks and that, and then you go across the news screen and they're talking about plutonium being stolen, and it just like carries on around the room and all these inventions, and it just ends and the plutonium's under the bed, and I was like, oh, that was really nice. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, that's one of my
Yeah.
favorite scenes.
But Alec, did you spot the Easter egg in the title sequence? That one-shot pan. So one of the clocks has got the dock hanging off one of the hands.
No.
Oh, that's the Harold Lloyd. You know, the solid movie star. He
So-
was like,
So as it pans across, there's different clocks, and one of them has got a bloke hanging off one of the. I think it's the hour. He's hanging off, and it's kind of a reference to the end of the film. I never knew this until I watched some trivia videos a while back. But yeah, now I've watched it again, knowing a lot more, I'm like, there's a lot more references to what's going to happen in the latter film.
I didn't pick up on that,
But yeah,
but
I didn't
I
pick
did.
it up as a presumptual kind of like thing that was going to happen, but it's like I showed you the gif of that class. It was like 1920, where this guy actually was hanging off the side of a building's clock for real, and he did
Right.
that in like one take. So
Yeah.
that's what it was referencing, and obviously Doc mirrored that when he jumps onto the clock and fell off and almost killed himself by doing so. So it's a good like homage to cinema and the end of the movie.
I like it.
Yeah.
I think it is a shame I only watched it once, like beforehand, because it is something that rewards you for watching it
Yeah,
Mhm.
again. Because like I think I just like how all kind of the I think they were really, really thoughtful in how the time travel kind of manifests and stuff, and like how his like estate isn't even built yet.
Hmm.
But he's like, oh, it's on this street, and Marty goes, oh, like it's John F. Kennedy Street, and the guy goes, who's John F. Kennedy?
Mm.
And I was like, oh, that's really clever. I like that. Like,
Yeah, all of that stuff's really cool.
Yeah, those details. Like, oh, you the mayor and mentions that the guy that's like working in the cafe or whatever it is, the diner,
Mm.
and he's going, oh, we need about the mayor, and he said, mayor, I like that idea. He sort of like gets inspired from the idea to actually run for mayor.
Or the fact that he plays Johnny B. Good and Chuck Berry's cousins
Yeah.
listening.
Yeah.
"Oh,
You go,
Chuck,
"Hear this."
listen to this song, and it's like pretty cool.
Your kids are gonna love it.
yeah, that was another sequence I found strange, though. To be fair,
Well, him just shredding on the guitar.
I was like, what's his goal in this scene? Because I was like, he's just got his parents together. What's he trying to accomplish? And I know, like, he kind of. Sorry,
He's just showing off.
what'd you say?
Have some fun.
Have
Yeah.
some fun. But I was like, right, but this is really going to backfire if your mum then goes, fucking hell, he plays the guitar as well. Shit, what a dreamboat. And I was like, oh, I'm glad you had some fun, Marty, but you've now fucking.
Well, you have to think he's still a teenager and a
Fuck this
kid, and he's
kid.
like, well,
You
shit, I
fucked
know
it.
the future. I know how everything's going to go, and if I'm going to blow their minds with this song, that I'm going to look like a god to these people, and they don't. They think he's strange and he's making all noise. So
Yeah,
that's
no,
what's going through his head.
I'd just be like, oh, hey, if my mum fancies me again, then this has been a massive waste and I'm going to fade from existence. So maybe I shouldn't show that I can do guitar, because that is a traditionally sort of attractive thing to do. On the rewatch, I was like, oh, he does get peer pressured into it, to be completely fair. But I was like, I maybe wouldn't have. But then he like goes again, like he sees them together, and then he goes, hey, when you guys have kids, and I was like, fucking hell, Marty. Like, that's a really good way to make someone go, maybe not actually. Maybe we're moving a bit too fast. Maybe that was something we should have, I was like, maybe don't jeopardize it.
Well, in modern day, you wouldn't do that. But I think like in the 50s, that everyone was expected to have kids really young anyway. So
yeah, but like the night that you just met somebody, like, because that could make someone go, oh, fucking hell, this is moving pretty quick. And it's all just so he doesn't get shouted at for setting fire to something, like, much later. And it's like, that's a cute joke, but, like, again, I don't know what you're trying to accomplish in the scene here, where, like, what's Marty trying to do?
Yeah, I do think it's kind of like what Ben said, though, innit? Like, I think everything was a little bit more, I suppose, straight in those days. So you can kind of get away with that a little bit more than you could now.
I just snubbed someone at a dance. We're going to get married. Going to have kids. You can't get out of this now, Lee Thompson. I saw your shoulders.
The thing is, it wouldn't actually make any difference, because where he's from a parallel timeline, he wouldn't actually remember them saying that to him or not doing it. So it's already happened. Do you get it?
I guess so, but I'm still going, why is he saying it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he understands time travel.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, because he's already lived that life kind of, I don't know, timeline. By him saying that to them, it doesn't affect him at all, because he's already lived it. So when he goes back to the present day, it's like, why is everything different? Oh, everything's better. It's just,
my parents are completely different people, but they're cool now. This is great.
I like the fact that his dad goes from being like a complete dork and he can't even stand up properly to being like mystical, just because, like,
yeah. Oh, well, I think you said mystical.
Mystical.
Oh,
he's so cool. He's like, I know that guy tried to like rape my wife at the high school dance, but I will let him clean my car. I will pay him. I'll continue to pay him to wash my fucking car.
Yeah, that is a bit weird.
Yeah, that's my thing with this one. It's definitely good, but I'm like, there's a couple of things here that are really, really weird. Sorry, Emmanuel. Oh,
getting wasted.
No, I just said when you put it like that.
I think it's one of them things. It's kind of, I wouldn't say they didn't think about it. They just kind of.
It's
a recurring character, and it's kind of that switch between when you see him at the beginning and he's treating George like an arsehole, and then it's kind of switched. I think that's what they was getting at. But yeah, in the crux of it, it would be very weird. You would probably get him arrested.
Yeah, it's a degradation of Biff's character. You wanted him seeing him at the lowest of the low, and everything you see Biff doing is everything. It was literally the antithesis of what Biff was before. So, like Dan was saying, he's flipped in the most obvious cliche kind of way.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. I appreciate it's kind of, as Dan said, it's a movie. And it's like, I get what you're trying to. Yeah, I know. I get what you're trying to do, because you're trying to like go, oh hey, Biff was on top, and now George is on top, and it's like, okay.
Oh, wait.
But then you kind of go, so he's cool with the whole attempted rape of his wife thing, then, like that. And it's like, I get what you're trying to do, but there's certain kind of questions underlying this.
Well, yes, that's a good point, because you can see that Marty's dad is becoming kind of what Biff was. He wanted to shame the guy that was bullying him, and in a way becomes just as bad as he was. But I know he's saying that he raped blah blah, but I think in his mind, oh, he's cleaning my car. I'm making him subservient to me, when the years before he wasn't. he was the opposite. So it's kind of like in his head, he wants to make him suffer in a
We're
weird
giving
way.
him a living.
Yeah, we're giving him a
But it-
minimum
yeah.
wage job.
The other thing I don't really get is the fact that so Lorraine would recognise Marty when he's an adult. So when he goes back, I would have thought she'd go, wait a minute, didn't I see you back when I was a teenager?
Well, wouldn't
This is
George
exactly-
go, hey, you're that guy who helped me gain my confidence and then completely change my life.
You're my son.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
You're that bloke.
But it's
Well,
one of
I
those
think-
things, though. No, Rob, you start first.
You
I was
shredded
just-
the guitar. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, like, I think that would have been a much better setup for the sequel, if you just had like George go, you know, that guy who you like got with before you got with me, our son looks a lot like him. What's going on? Like, if they'd have like explored that a little bit, then yeah, because one of the problems I have with the well, probably the biggest problem I have with the sequel is it's basically just like it's number one, but in a different context again. But yeah, I thought that would have been a really good setup for it.
Actually, I would say that
Yeah.
my only thing with that is that why I give it a pass is just because that even though I'm good at remembering faces and but not names, I still like struggle to remember a face of one person I met 30 years ago.
Yeah,
And
no,
it's just something that even if it happened on a really prominent day of my life, it'd be like, well, I only met you for 2 or 3 days. I don't think
Yeah.
I'd have such a vivid memory of
But
that.
if they completely, if you were like, I know, God forbid, Ben, imagine if you were like really timid and like you met some guy and he like encouraged you to become really, really confident and meet the girl of your dreams who
You'd
eventually became
fucking
your wife.
remember him.
You'd probably remember him.
Yeah.
I think the thing is, like, I mean, I think it's fair enough that like he wasn't around for long and like people
Yeah.
forget faces and whatever. But I do feel like, I mean, he was there for a week, he came out of nowhere and then he disappeared again. And he had like this massive effect on everyone's lives, but nobody
Yeah.
recognizes him.
I think maybe like Rob says, like he should have acknowledged and say, you know what, the older you get, son, you remind me of someone I met when I was a boy, like your age.
I
You know,
think
it's
your
like
mother
maybe-
might have fucked him.
Maybe you should have mentioned it in a passing phrase, because it's like he wouldn't obviously have known anything when he was like a baby, when he was growing up, when he was a kid. It's only when he becomes a teenager, when Marty becomes the right age, you'd be like, hang on, now he's
Yeah.
looks
You
like
know-
someone I knew.
You know what this is crying out for? A mini series.
I think that's the thing.
I wouldn't be surprised if they do one in the future.
That's another thing in the setup of it all, though, isn't it? Because that would have worked, and they could have really lent into that if Marty was the older brother rather than the younger.
Yeah.
Actually, thinking about it, you think of the third film, they have a picture taken in 1885, and that's like part of history. So you would see that picture and wait a second, that's our fucking son.
That guy who turned up for a
His
week and
friend.
changed all of our lives in in the 50s, who also looks a lot like our son, is also in this picture in the fucking 1800s.
I'd like the fact that when she goes to kiss him and she's like, "You remind me of my brother." Like, it's just like
It's like kissing my brother.
it's like, oh,
To be fair, if he was in Alabama,
Oh, you can't
Uh-huh.
say that. Not while in
hey,
Memphis here.
very
And then the film
fun.
was
shit, is that where
not
you're
work.
You could have said Norfolk.
See?
I think the best thing there was
Oh my
Emmanuel
God.
muted himself just to shake his head.
I'm sorry.
That's great.
No, you're not.
I didn't realize you were from there.
Oh, no.
That's brilliant.
I had to drop
50
yourself in it.
states, I managed to pick the only one that he's from.
Oh, I've got some changing the subject from incest and time travel.
That would have been
So-
quite an alternative title.
That is the film, though.
it is basically-
Incestuous time travel.
So the car didn't actually the car without like the base car, vanilla car, couldn't actually go over 80 miles an hour.
The
Really?
line itself.
So in the film it's actually completely bullshit. because it
That's
couldn't actually
mental.
go that fast.
So they made a car that looked like that couldn't do above 80 miles an hour. They basically made an aeroplane with 4 wheels and it couldn't do above 80 miles an hour.
So that's what made me laugh when he's driving it around and he's like, "Oh, well, you bet you gotta do 90," and I'm like, "The car can't do 90." Because fundamentally the car was absolute shit. It was an aluminium body with a really shit engine, so it couldn't go fast. It looked cool, but it just was really shit, and that's why it kind of flops. But then the film made it into like an icon.
Should have
And
been a
if-
fucking Bugatti Veyron. Sorry, that's a reference only Rob's gonna get.
It's this this guy that me and Alec knew at uni. He was like, he was a weird guy. He was about 60, and he used to hang around at the pub that all the students went to. And when me and Alec met him, we met him at different times, and we both had the exact same conversation with him. Because like it basically went like, "Oh, what do you do?" "Oh, I'm an English student." And then he went, "Oh, I'm a writer." And then we were like, "What do you write about?" And he went, "Banks." And we both went, "Oh, okay." But then a couple of weeks later, he was like, "The one thing I don't understand about banks is how they make their money." And I was like, "How do you write about them if you don't get that bit?" But no, the joke that Alec made was because once a Bugatti went past the pub and he like really loudly, even though nobody else really cared, he really loudly was like, "It's a fucking Bugatti Veyron."
It was about as awkward as we're all feeling now.
I did funny.
Okay. Yeah.
I feel so guilty.
Going back to DeLorean. Yeah, really shit car. And that's kind of the way. Sorry, I had to go back because it's the film. So yeah, that's why I'm sure in the film when he says, "You made a time machine out of a DeLorean," I think it's because he kind of knew that it was a shit car.
Yeah.
What in tarnation?
What in tarnation?
You made a time machine out of a DeLorean machine.
Yeah.
No, this is the perfect you film though, because it is just like, hey, what's up with this? Hey, should we think about that? Hey, should we do this? No, it's a film.
The film. It's like RoboCop.
It's
The
like
road program.
RoboCop or Transformers.
RoboCop and
You made the connection. I didn't.
Back to the Future are much better films.
Oh, the animated Transformers is all right.
No, I think he was making reference to the live action films.
Oh, fuck them.
Yeah.
I was just referencing you connecting them for some reason.
But they're outlandish subjects.
That.
No, I don't know.
A lot of things are.
Does it make sense? No, it's a film.
It's flawless.
It is flawless time travel.
Flawless time travel. But yeah, it is.
Be honest, Transformers could be real too.
Huh?
I said, to be honest, Transformers could be real too.
They're aliens.
Exactly. By another society.
Not in our world. Not in our universe.
Somewhere in Alabama.
Actually, what if the ones who built Transformers were the ones who visited in the day the Earth stood still? But some of their creations were rogue.
I love the idea that. Oh, sorry, man.
Oh no, carry on.
I was going to say, I love the idea that we can build a Humphrey cinematic universe, and at one point there's just a guy who's really good at maths.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're all linked.
He's so good at maths. He gives Marty time to go, "Hey, my car works. Thanks a lot, guys."
Anyway,
I'll drive it now.
Because that makes sense, right? Just headbutting the steering wheel to make it work.
Yeah.
Sorry. I don't want to pick on it, but yeah.
You can see why I find it kind of frustrating to watch.
Yeah, but the thing is, as I said, I kind of forgive it because it's so. I love it so much that I'm just like, That's all right.
Yeah, it's made with a lot of love.
Yes, I imagine it's one of those ones that you guys probably grew up with, but like because I didn't, I kind of just went, oh, it's stupid.
Yeah, no, there are bits that are silly, and like I said, like there's loads of things that they kind of do things where you start asking questions about things that you don't really have to. Like the photograph that we were all talking about the other day, that's another one. Like I really don't like that as like the thing that symbolizes him being close to his parents, not meeting, because like just none of it makes sense physically. Like,
Well, it was something that Ben brought up, and he was like, "Why does his big brother like start fading away first?" And I was like, "Because he's the big brother." And then I was like, "Isn't it obvious?" And then I was like, it might not actually be that as obvious as I think. Actually, that's really fucking weird.
It's hard to explain because really, yeah, like we said, all of them would vanish, not just him.
Well,
Yeah,
why
it's
would
like
they-
because his birth is like the closest to them getting together or not. But it's like right, so but like so I guess he's like affected by the ripple first. But it's also like, but why aren't his sister and him also equally as affected?
Yeah, but why do they go in parts? Why is
Yeah.
it like
Yeah.
his torso, his head?
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
none of
Your
it
hair
makes
never
sense. Like,
existed. Now your head never existed.
And like the
Now
fact
your
that
torso never existed.
and then his hand starts to disappear. What the fuck does that mean?
yeah, I really didn't
can't
like any of that,
believe-
man, because I was like, you could have come up with so many other things that just you wouldn't be asking these questions about. Like even that, like if they all disappear and then the photograph still exists, why did somebody take a picture of a wall? And like just there's just so many bits like that where it's like, well, you could have just not done that.
That's a fucking good point. Why is the point of taking a picture of a wall with no people? But I think it's more it's like creative license. They just wanted to have a way of showing you that time was running out.
Well, they do it in the I can't remember if it's the second or the third with the newspaper. So like that's a better way of doing it, I think, because that's something where like the newspaper would exist either way, and you're seeing things that are actually changing. And like, I mean, fair enough, you can't really do it with like a normal family unless you come up with a reason that they were reported on for whatever reason. But yeah, like the newspaper works better as a concept, I think. But then even then, they do it again where like you start asking questions that you shouldn't have to, because the headline turns to Doc being committed. And it's like, well, if Doc was committed, then the DeLorean wouldn't exist.
Yeah,
So-
none of this exists.
Yeah, because it's Doc getting committed and then when it goes back to normal, it's in George being knighted
yeah.
or being commemorated or where it is. But yeah, that makes more sense than a picture just fading away. My hand, I can't play.
Why is everyone Yosemite Sam? Why are you Yosemite Sam?
No, I'm triggered. I'm triggered from Space Jam.
My biscuits are burning.
So Space Jam, that's another one where we had a problem with a photo, and there wasn't even a photo in that.
Yes, we did.
Oh, the fateful Space Jam.
I'm still sorry about it.
Oh god. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Great film.
Yeah. It's
So
it's one of those. It's just one of those kind of. It's something that happens with Spielberg films. Just in I've found it's just like a kind of quality to it, a certain sort of what the French call as a certain I don't know what, and
Ambience.
no, I was going for je ne sais quoi, but that's okay.
I was going to say
Mise Lovely blow.
I love
Croissant.
that name. You're my
Croissant.
favorite.
Was it
Um,
croissant?
Yeah, it was Crescent.
It's croissant.
Lovely.
But like it's why I give Indiana Jones like a story score of like about 8, because like the fighting is stupid. But I give Purpose a 10 because it's an Indiana Jones film. And it's like, it's a certain quality where you're going like, I don't really need it to be all that realistic. It's an Indiana Jones film. And it's gritty. It's enough, but like in a kind of a cartoonish sort of way, and it's kind of walking the line. And that's Back to the Future. Back to the Future is a really, really nice time travel movie, as long as you don't really examine it. But even if you examine it, you're like, it's still like a fucking great time travel. It is like one of the quintessential time travel movies. And it's like, does it all make sense? No,
Not really.
But
did you enjoy it?
there's a certain energy. Don't do this. There's a certain energy to it that makes you go, yeah. It doesn't, but there's I'm struggling.
Yeah, no, it's a Spielberg thing, innit? I think a lot of the films that he's involved with are basically like they're cartoons, but they just happen to be live action.
Yeah,
And
it's
like
got this fairy tale like ambience, I could say. Fairy tale, like it like showed like wonder, and like it's obviously the music helps as well, and but how they even like when you see the logo of Back to the Future appear on the screen has a little shine. I thought that was just a really good touch. You probably could never replicate that nowadays, but it's just how they did make films in the 80s, and it just had this like mood and style that it's nothing else like it.
It's like, sorry.
I was just gonna say, like, I think it's also quite good at like giving you a little sort of it kind of like pushes you into going like, okay, this isn't something that I need to think about a lot, because right at the start where you've got that like huge amp and Marty strums the guitar and then it like blows him back. Like that's just kind of the film going like, look, we reserve the right not to really make sense because we know that doesn't happen. Like, so
you'd be deaf for like weeks, if not forever.
We're not taking this that seriously. We're just having a bit of fun, and it's like, that's okay.
Like the fact that he tells him, "Oh yeah, it's got a bit of it's a bit overloaded," and he's like, "Yeah," it's like, "Oh yeah, it's a bit fun." That kind of bit just sums it up. Yeah.
Like, I can pick it apart till like the end of days, but like I've still got the biggest smile on my face when he's like going around on the skateboard and he makes him like drive into a big manure truck. And I'm just like, fucking hell, yay. Like, that's really,
that's
I really enjoy that sequence.
Like Simpson style, like humor that.
Yeah. So biggest smile on my face. I don't even fucking like the movie that much, but that was cool. That was very nice.
That's the point, actually. Dan, congratulations on your 2 Hall of Fames.
Well deserved.
Oh yeah, what were they for? No, the film's rubbish.
If John was here, it wouldn't have gotten.
It would have got trashed.
Impact and Purpose. Oh yeah. Okay.
To be honest, Emmanuel's reaction to me picking it, I was thinking, oh fuck, I'm not going to get above a 9 or even an 8.
Oh no, don't get me wrong. Like the first 1 or 2 times I saw the film, I had a good time. I enjoyed it. You just know me and like watching films again. So my limit score wasn't based on like a 3rd time or 4th time having watched it. It was based on how I felt before.
To be honest, Emmanuel, I don't know how many times I've watched this film. I've watched it that many times that I've lost count. And
as far as he knows, the car goes whoosh every time. That's enough for him.
Honestly, it makes me tingle. It makes me tingle. Okay, it's just like if I could hear that noise, like
I can feel you tingling from here.
Yeah, the spider sense is tingling.
Have you told Coral this?
Wow.
I think a film that probably is the closest to doing that for, and it's not the whole film, it's just a section. Again, I can't watch any film again and again. But the introduction to The Dark Knight.
Oh, I was really waiting for you to say Antichrist.
Oh yeah, the mutilation scene.
Up to the point where the Joker is like this close in the camera.
Yeah, with the mask.
Yeah. And like in the bank and it goes off. That's like nice. And then I'll just stop the film there. I'm good.
It's
Well, the
definitely
prologue was so
the
good, to be fair.
it's definitely the car for me. When it flips down and it goes boom, boom. Oh, it just gets me. But
I've-
yeah, I did
I've got
s-
such a fucking visual image right now. I just can't. I can't do it.
if I could give it a 12 for enjoyment, I'd give it a 12 for enjoyment.
Oh, it's gone up one.
Not a 13.
Yeah. Oh, 18.
It could be 18. To be honest, there's no number for how much I enjoyed this film.
I like the idea that you can go like as boundless as you like, and you go 12.
I don't know. you
13?
can't-
No, not 13. I'm not mental.
But the thing is, if you love something so much, you can't really put a number on it, can you?
Oh,
It's just
that made me tingle.
Check your
You
pants, might
fucking
be
said it.
wet.
I'm quoting you.
yeah, it's great film.
Don't get to look at me weird when a DeLorean makes you have an erection.
To be honest, if I had the money, I'd fucking buy one. Like, I don't give a shit.
I'm really glad you said buy one.
Yeah, the flux
I-
capacitor becomes
I've
something else.
I've sat in one as well. I've managed to actually sit in one that's been signed by the McFly.
Fred DeLorean, yeah, he's cool.
But yeah,
Have you got a Lego DeLorean? Oh, do they?
I do have a Lego DeLorean.
No, you do.
I have a remote controlled one as well.
Oh wow.
Does it
That's
go
how
woof?
Transformer. I've Marty and Doc. And they go.
You sort of remind me of an upside down Doc.
Ah, sweet.
Oh, you got brickheads.
I saw them. I'm like, I'm having them. I'm having them.
Sold them in the shop and just like trashed the place and gone.
Yeah. But yeah, I love it. What kind of got me as well was that I think why I kind of like the second one more for a period of time was like their idea of the future. Like the fact that they got microwave pizza that goes from this size to like a full size pizza. I was like, that's amazing.
And don't forget Pepsi free then.
Pepsi free and Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
It's just
What
and the
What jaws
hoverboard.
were they on?
Oh, Jaws
16.
16. Oh yeah. The shark still looks fake.
I thought it was going to be Jaws 3D, and I was like, oh no.
Like the hoverboards. Oh, the hoverboards. I've actually
Yeah.
got one.
They fucked that up, didn't they? Little did they know that hoverboards would have wheels.
Yeah. I mean, cars don't fly. What the hell? It's weird to think that Back to the Future 2 is a period movie now.
Yeah, there's so many things in the film where, as you said, Alec, if you watch it once, you don't get it because it's the bit with the Twin Pines Mall.
Hmm.
He runs over one of them, and like when he comes out of the field, and then at the end of the film it says Lone Pine Mall.
I didn't notice that.
Hmm.
Lovely.
That's cool. There's
Yeah,
lots of
there's-
great details like that in there.
He's like, you ran over my pine, and then at the end of the film it's Lone Pine Mall.
That fucking passed me right by. I did not even notice that.
It's so subtle. It's like, as I said, with the clock at the start. I didn't even. I don't know how many. Like probably 25, 26 years of my life, I've not noticed this until someone actually said it in a video and said, "This is a reference to the end of the film." Like, what the fuck?
This is what I mean.
Yeah,
I think I'm probably guilty of this myself, but like, I think there was a temptation to just kind of go like, oh, it's kind of a, I don't know. So it's just kind of like surface level, sort of just like a trashy sort of time travel movie, but like it is actually like a lot cleverer than you give it credit for.
Yeah.
Like even just something like all the people in the past thinking he's wearing a life preserver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Like-
like, what would you think if you're like in the past and you saw someone wear one of those like bomber jacket things? It's like, what the hell?
Oh,
or even just like the kids are riding around on like these scooters made of like pallets and stuff, and he just rips it off and he starts going on
There's
his
a
skateboard.
skateboard there and there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Did anyone like the Star Wars Star Trek reference?
no.
I am Darth Vader.
And Darth Vader.
I
Very
wish I really wish there was a payoff for that. Like George later on, sort of, I don't know, seeing a clip of Star Wars or something and being like, Darth Vader, shit.
Yeah.
Wait,
And then like
yeah.
he's sitting in the diner and he sees that and he's just like, oh, that's a good name. I might
That was another scene that wound me up actually, because he's got his headphones on, Crispin Glover, and then he's like, "I am Darth Vader," and then he like cranks the sound back up, and Crispin Glover's going, "Ah!" I'm like, take the headphones off.
I guess they didn't
Dumb
have
bastard.
headphones. You wouldn't have known what headphones were, but I know what you mean. The instinct would be just rip them off, didn't they?
Yeah,
To
like if
be
it's
honest-
something on your head.
No, actually, that would have been a really good payoff for the whole thing. Like if you had like George and what's her name watching TV.
He's already called George.
Eh?
He's already called George. Just have it be Lucas.
Oh, yeah, no, it would have been a really good payoff if you had them watching TV and like a Calvin Klein advert came on, and they were like, "Oh, Calvin Klein, that's that guy. Wait, he looks like that guy." That would have tied it all together quite nicely.
And now for Star Wars, and it's like Darth Vader. When he looked like to visit me, and it's like, wait a second.
I'd have loved a little cutaway though. He's like, "I am Darth Vader from the planet Vulcan," and you just got George Lucas and Gene Roddenberry going, "Yeah, you bastard."
You
Yeah.
motherfucker.
Yeah, what's with that
Cool,
sign?
man.
I can use that for something.
Oh man, that would completely fucking change everything. Oh, you wouldn't have. Oh no, you wouldn't have people getting pissed off at that. Just like, "Oh yeah, I love Darth Vader. He does this."
See, that's the thing. That reference I didn't get as a kid, and it's only by watching it now I'm like, oh yeah, Star Trek, Star Wars.
War Trek.
War Trek.
I gotta say though, I do like still get like chills when his dad like actually is like making the fist, and like he's actually like, I don't know, like emotionally like fraught enough that he's actually going to kind of like, I don't know, become more than himself and actually like fucking hit him. And I was like that does actually like hit me. It's like, fuck yeah, this is a great scene.
It's because the whole film he's basically like been bullied, and he's just a bit of a dweeb, and he's just like complete outcast. And then in that one moment, he actually goes, "Actually, I'm gonna sort this out." And he punches.
It's really powerful. I really like it.
Right.
I mean, even speaking as someone who doesn't like the film that much, like there's a lot of good scenes in there.
Yeah.
You sounded really disappointed that I was praising your film that you
Yeah.
love very much because the car goes whoosh.
It does go whoosh.
It
And it's
does.
the best. It's the best thing. It's like one of the best cars in cinema history. I even have a DeLorean. It shows how sad I am. I have a DeLorean watch.
I like how I keep bringing up new things to praise, and you're like, "Oh god, this car though, fucking hell, it is."
It goes wash.
To be honest, I was thinking, what is people's favourite scenes?
Mhm.
So, Rob, what's your favourite scene?
I don't know. You come back to me. I'm still thinking.
Pat, what's your favourite scene?
Probably the chase that led Biff to crash into the shit truck. I really enjoyed that whole segment.
That is a very good scene.
Shit.
Ben,
Oh,
what is your favourite scene?
he was about to leave, but no.
Quick fire round.
He goes
Ben.
whoosh.
Wish.
Yeah, we all know your one, Humphrey.
Well, to be honest, there's multiple, but
There's multiple times where it goes whoosh, yeah.
it does, especially at the end when he goes bang bang bang. Oh, I got a bit of random trivia for you before. It's
Yeah, so have I, but is it the same trivia?
it's I'm doing a bit of a segue before Ben does his favourite scene. So the bloke on the bench who's a tramp, he was actually a porn star, and,
Okay,
and
that's
one,
not-
one of the films.
That's where I
he was
know him
in-
from. He goes whoosh.
Wait a second. So one of the films that he's in is actually at the cinema. So in the thing where it says like XX whatever film, that was the film that bloke was in. It's so random.
Oh, so Marty made his life worse.
It's really funny. It's one of these random trivia videos I watched. But yeah, so the video, so the cinema that's showing the film is the film that the bloke on the bench was in, but he was a tramp in the film. It's just really for a,
Or, but
It's
can
a
you film as
random.
the bench? Well, put the name of your film like in the movie, but you gotta sleep on the bench.
I don't really understand why they put it in as like a reference. But
Oh,
yeah,
I thought you
that's
meant he
random.
was in a porn film at like the beginning of the film,
No,
but then he
the-
became a
that-
tramp at the end, and I was like, oh, so Marty fucking about made it so he had a paid profession, and then he didn't.
No, the actual actor
He
who
was
was
an actual
acting as a tramp, he was
Right.
actually a porn star, and the film that they're advertising in the film is a real film that he was in.
Right.
That's
And
interesting.
it's just like, why
Oh,
would
right.
you add this? But on that note, Ben, what is your favourite scene?
Well, Alec mentioned one of my favorite scenes was the introduction of the film with Marty, and you just see his feet, and you can hear all the clocks ticking, and the sound design is just so good, and you just see the camera pan around, and you're introduced to Marty so smoothly, and the whole premise of the film is just done so well and so eloquently done. But another bit I did love is just that little scene where Doc sort of outlines his plan about how he will kickstart the DeLorean back to the past, or the future, I should say, with the little model, and he's like, yeah, that, forgive me, it's not to scale, and it's like, it's brilliant. It just looks brilliant model. And he
It's
just has
perfect.
the little car just drive across the street, and just how he manages to like outline what he needs to do to Marty to try and get him back, which is really clever. But there's lots of moments all the way through that I did really love a lot.
Alec, what's your favourite scene?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's not.
It's
It's
not
not-
the clock scene.
That's not
It's
the
not the
question,
clock
Alec.
scene.
We know that you've made a point of that. What
Where
is
the
your
car goes
favourite
whoosh.
scene? I don't want to know the one you don't like. I want to know one you like.
It's the bit when the thing goes whoosh. No, it's
That is a great scene. It happens multiple times during the film.
I've heard. I had so much time to prepare for this, and I just didn't. I didn't think about it. It's probably the scene where George decides to stand up for him and Lee Thompson, and it's not because Lee Thompson's got her shoulders out. Yeah, just deciding he's gonna. Sorry, I'm really Puritan. I just shoulders just. But yeah, I find that's a very, very powerful moment. But also it's the skateboard scene. I really like that scene. I think Pat mentioned that one earlier, but yeah, There's a lot. There's a lot to like in a film I'm not that hot on. So that's testament if nothing else.
So, Emmanuel, what's your favourite scene?
I have two.
Oh, two. It's more than Alex.
I mentioned two.
You didn't say two. You said I didn't like one and I liked one.
No, I said I didn't like one, and then I said two that I did like. So shut your face. Fair enough.
Alex, shut. Emmanuel, what's your things?
Ironically, I like the kind of the clock tower scene where they go back to the future. And I think my second one, and probably partly because it became iconic as well, and I kind of forgot how iconic it became, was the hoverboard scene. Wait,
What scene?
no, that's not the
That's
same.
the second one. Yeah.
What,
Yeah,
what scene?
The skateboard
Sorry.
scene.
I forgot. Anyway, no, I only have one. It's the one where they go back to the future from the clock tower and the fire and everything.
Oh.
But I was talking about the second film and mixing it in. I was like, oh yeah, but that's my favorite scene from the
I
second.
like how there's like an exactly equivalent scene with a skateboard, and you're like, nah, that one sucks.
But the fact that he goes on the water in the second one and he can't move his feet because it's to do with the. Oh, it's like the propulsion. He can't move his feet, and then they go near him, and then he falls in the water. And they trash themselves, like the fact that they trash themselves in the manure.
Yeah,
It's basically the same film.
the closest thing they have to a hoverboard these days, an actual hoverboard, not the one that's named it. Anyway,
Don't get me started on that.
Well, the one with the wheels where you lean forward.
I constantly have people coming into the store. Have you got any hoverboards? I was like, no, but we've got things with wheels on that you can try.
So they're really good, Pat.
That's a scooter.
They're
What a
segways.
salesman.
but you know, like you have, I can't remember what they're actually called, but you've probably seen them. The ones where it's like a pad you stand on, and you have 4 propellers, and it just. And you can ride
Whooshes.
in the air, yeah.
Whoosh.
But I think one
Stop
Does
comes.
it go dum dum? Bish. Yeah. So, John, what's your favourite scene? Oh, wait.
Sorry, are you all right? Ah!
Sorry.
It's all right. He can't hear you. He's not here.
No, you've never watched this.
I bet he does.
I bet he
like-
doesn't. I don't think he's watched one.
Oh, you feel like that? Ooh. He's not going to say that because he don't give a shit.
I didn't even understand what you said.
Sorry.
But no, I just didn't
Rob's-
understand what you said.
Rob's
Yeah, I
sitting
know,
there
'cause-
thinking, I'm going to have to edit loads of shit out now.
How many
Like-
times I edited this?
He doesn't have to edit anything. He's not going to watch it.
So this video is sponsored and not sponsored by Dead Man Fingers.
But it's
You're
not
wrong.
sponsored by John. He hates
I-
everybody.
I think I've worked out my favourite scene. I think my favourite scene's just it's near yours, Dan. So it's the bit where Marty's driving away from the Libyans, and then he goes into the past, crashes through the scarecrow, and then ends up in the shed. Just because like that whole bit is basically, it kind of sums up everything that's good about it, because you've got like all of this like ridiculous cause and effect that like it wouldn't happen, because like how would that, because like so he goes through the shed, and just before he goes through the shed he's wearing that hazmat suit, and then the hood comes up and it literally
Right.
looks like somebody sat behind him just going like that. And it's like it's all this stuff that just like wouldn't happen, but like it gets away with it just because. And yeah, I think that kind of like sums up the spirit of the film.
Well, it's not just, I can understand, that's great, but like the fact that everything looks exactly the same. It's like the hazmat suits looks like the aliens that are in the
Mm.
books. So he's like, oh my god, it's an alien because they look exactly the same. It's just like,
Excuse me.
yeah, that is a great scene.
Speaking of aliens, have you ever seen the letter that Steven Spielberg got from the producer of this?
Oh, that's great.
No,
Let me find it. So
read
it's
it out.
based.
Jesus, how bright is your screen?
It's actually not that bright. It's because everything's on dark mode. So as soon as I open anything that's white, it just goes like.
It just looked like you just started
Look
looking
on
at
this.
atomic blast.
Right. So this is the letter, right? So this was on something like the 40th draft of the Back to the Future script or something silly like that. And the letter from the studio said
40th draft.
it went through 44 drafts before it got greenlit.
Fucking hell.
because they went to different companies and Disney didn't want anything to do with it because of the incest bit with the mum and son bit.
They referenced that on the Netflix documentary, didn't they?
Oh yeah, the one
How
about the films that
yeah.
made us.
how difficult it was for it to even get greenlit.
Yeah.
And they sort of touch on it on the special features on the Blu-ray.
Mm.
40 redrafts.
I should have a look
Yep.
at the special features actually.
You think they'd have tried a bit harder?
One
But
thing
yeah,
I'll-
sorry, Pat.
I was just gonna say the one thing that I probably took away from the film in terms of like acting, a lot of people would refer to Doc or Marty, but it was Marty's mum / love interest. That was
Oh,
Don't say that, Pat.
that's
It's not what
But that-
the
But
That's
I
fucking
feel
horrible.
like that performance was probably the most impressive in the film because she's having to play both his mum and someone that fancies him. It seems
Well done.
seems wrong. It does seem wrong, but I think what's the actress name again?
Leah Thompson.
Yeah, I think Leah Thompson's performance in that film was probably the standout for me.
yeah. I know Rob's halfway through a point right now.
Sorry.
But I did find the acting with the old people makeup to be like quite weak, but like I really appreciated their like acting as like I prefer their actual acting when they're young as opposed to their old person makeup acting, which I didn't think was that great. But they got the shit off their face and they got way better. Sorry, Rob. Go for it.
yeah.
The draft thing really took us off track there. But yeah, so yeah, this was like the 40th draft or something, and this was a letter that they got back from a producer. And so it says, although I believe that the present draft is terrific and I marvel at the improvements that have been made from the Columbia version, I continue to believe that the title leaves much to be desired. There are a number of reasons why I found the title less than wonderful, but my primary concern is that it appears to make the picture a genre picture. I think that the script and hopefully the film deserves a better title. Now that I've buttered you up, I would suggest we consider the title Spaceman from Pluto. Underpinning these suggestions are the following thoughts. 1. Modify the dialogue on page 35 so that Sherman calls Marty a spaceman from Pluto. 2. Modify Marty's dialogue on page 77 so that he identifies himself as a spaceman from Pluto instead of Darth Vader from Vulcan. 3. Change the title of the book written by George and referred to on page 130 from A Match Made in Space to Spaceman from Pluto. Obviously, you get the idea. I am sure there will be those who will argue that the movie will appear to the audience to be a cheap, old-fashioned sci-fi flick. Nonsense. I think it's a kind of title that has heat, originality, and projects fun. Most importantly, I think it avoids the feeling of a genre movie.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
Spaceman from Pluto. That could be anything.
So we nearly got Spaceman from Pluto.
Yeah,
And the box
That
office
could-
smash.
That could have been a romance or a drama or a fantasy, anything.
I don't know.
What fucking kook.
Yeah, and that was a real guy.
Yeah,
That
that's got a lot of heat there.
I'll send the scan of it to the chat.
That kind of depresses
Hey,
me.
it's more like lukewarm at most.
Okay. Who sent the letter up?
It was a producer at MCA. I just sent it to the to the
really-
chat.
I really, really wanted you to say like John or I think that spaceman from Pluto would have been better. Sentient spaceman from Pluto.
Oh god, I'm glad they stuck with what they did.
I like how I can't say sentient without Ben going, like, oh fuck. Jesus, that's so fucking kooky.
insanity.
That's so bizarre. Like Back to the Future's been, I don't know.
There's
Like it's just such a state. Like it's just such a cultural staple. I can't picture. I literally can't picture someone going like,
Yeah.
There's loads of examples like that.
From Pluto.
There was another one with American Graffiti. So when George Lucas was trying to get that greenlit, the studio sent him a list of like 60 alternative titles because they didn't like American Graffiti. And like some of them are just ridiculous. So I'm just looking at them now, and it's got like, so one of them is 1962 was some year.
What?
What?
Yeah. Another one is where is it? Another one is collage, just collage.
Okay.
A 1962, last night together. Like there's so
Boring.
many examples of studios trying to like
Make it
sort
shit.
of like strong arm their own titles in, and they're always
some
shit.
producers just have no clue.
I think my email's listening into our chat
Where?
because I just got an email from Reddit and
I just got an email from Spaceman from Pluto.
The title of the thread is whoosh. I'll take a screenshot and send it in the group.
Beautiful.
Humphrey, I demand you change your name.
What were the
Well, by default.
strong arm in?
What?
What were the other names people tried to strong arm in? You said?
Oh, there was collage. 1962 was some year. Another one was like Goodbye Burger City. Yeah, just like loads of random shit.
Oh my goodness.
Fucking producers.
But yeah, on American Graffiti, so George Lucas was the director, but Francis Ford Coppola was one of the producers. And yeah, apparently when they got that list, they both kind of just like they kind of read through it and they were like, we'll keep this just for like historical preservation, but we'll completely ignore it.
I was really afraid you were going to be like Francis Ford Coppola sent the original draft, and I was like, no, you can't do this. You leave my Coppola alone. You all right, Hum?
Yeah.
Good chat. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, you just look like you're cringing out of your asshole, and then you go,
Am I?
yeah, you're going like this, like.
Oh.
No. Okay. Oh God.
There you go. I changed my name to Whoosh.
Whoosh.
Rush free.
Daniel Whoosh.
Whoosh. But yeah, well, the sound in the film's great.
Great sound effects.
It's very Spielberg, isn't it?
It is very Spielberg. Like I don't think the acting holds up all the time. And the production is very of its time, but like maybe even above its time. I think I'm probably being a little bit harsh,
Yeah,
actually,
right.
on the I'm thinking specifically on like Marty's hand.
Oh, those little bit things. Like, yeah, I know what you mean. It's like certain, like when you see like the car elevate at the end and it flies off the screen, you can see that it's like how
Yeah,
they would do it
Oh.
in the 80s rather than.
that's not something I want to hold against it, because
No.
like I don't want to hold like technological limitations against something.
I was going to say the main one is when the flames go under their feet and you can see that they're in a different, they're like in a green screen.
It's not as bad as that scene in Poltergeist, say, where everything's flying and you you can know. Yeah, I don't know. It's, I suppose we'll wait until that we all watch that. But yeah,
Another
there's
one
a
I've
scene
never
where it's like
seen.
the height of that kind of technology.
Yes, I've never seen it either.
You never seen Poltergeist?
I've never seen Poltergeist.
Oh wow.
Oh well, I'm gonna have to pick it.
Oh, don't do
Always.
that.
I very much look forward to that.
Well, the thing is, when you see his hand go like see-through, you can tell it's not actually the hand,
His hand,
because
no.
he's
I really thought you were going to
Yeah.
go. You can, because hands don't go see through, and I was like, yeah.
no, because the way his shoulder is, it wouldn't make any sense where the hand is positioned. So it's literally just like it's like a float. It's like a floating hand that goes see-through.
I
and
genuinely
never
was like,
noticed-
is that Humphrey's arm, or is he just has he just got a fake arm for this?
but that's the thing in the film. It looks like a fake arm because the way he does it. You can
I'm
see
saying
it
nothing.
it kind of floats a bit.
He's armless.
But I don't want to kiss my mom. But yeah. Yeah, it's very cool.
So that's something I don't want to I don't want to be too harsh when like that was sort of the limit of its time, really. So like, can I imagine like shit like making the DeLorean kind of have all this like be gathering kind of all this light before it like teleports and stuff, like, you know, that was probably pretty high caliber sort of stuff. And the tire streaks as well, like that's really iconic.
Yeah,
So,
the fire on the road, that's so good.
so yeah, I don't want to be.
So you
Yeah.
fucking trash talk it, Alec. It's the best thing.
I'm literally not. I'm literally sitting here
joking.
going, it's really good.
Yeah,
And you're like,
be
don't
fair,
you fucking have a go at it.
in all fairness, as much as Alex criticised this, he's been more positive about this in his own film.
Yeah.
Which I'm quite surprised.
Oh yeah.
I'm very
While the segue's there,
I'm touched. I'm touched, Alec. I'm touched.
Yeah, with the segue from tires to the next film.
whoosh. Now, what did you think of? You weren't there last week. What did you think of? I don't feel at home in this world anymore.
You weren't there, man.
Who, me?
No, the other person who wasn't there. No, oh no, we can't ask John.
Wow.
Oh.
Shit. Yeah, it was a film.
Lovely. Anyway, so what's your film, Rob?
But what I liked about the film is it seemed like a kind of like a rom-com, kind of like a bit stale, and then these really fucking random shit things happen. You're like, what the fuck? And then it just gets progressively worse. That makes sense. So like
Barely.
the idea of the film is this woman's like a life shit, and then these things that like by accident happen, and you're just like, what the fuck? And then it just gets progressively worse and worse to the point where someone blows his fingers off, So yeah, I was coming into the film as like this film's gonna be a bit shit. And I was like, wow, this is
What is
quite
this?
surprising.
Last week's film.
Oh,
It's,
Emmanuel, you just sat there like, I don't remember this.
It was sort of like a rom-com, and then
Uh,
things happen by accident, and then some stuff happens, and then a guy gets his fingers blown off.
He does.
oh
He
yeah,
does.
now we're in the film. I
I-
forget.
I think my favourite scene is either the bit where she basically gets the bloke in the Adam's apple with the cast,
Hmm,
or
yeah.
the old woman dying, where she's like, it was about the dicks. She's about I can't remember now. It's been so long. She's like, she's got a big dick, and she dies, and she's just looking at her like, what is my life? It's like, what the fuck? Yeah.
Oh, I really just want more stream of consciousness reviews from you. That'd be brilliant.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's no, it's good. I'm glad. Glad that was your takeaway.
Because I didn't really know what to think of it when it started really slow. I was like, "Oh, this seems a bit boring." And then, like, what the fuck? And then it just kind of goes like exponential. What the fucks? And then you get to the end of the film, and you're like, "What just happened?"
We're reaching
normal.
levels of what the fucks that shouldn't be possible. Lovely. Well, I don't know about everyone else, but I really enjoyed that. Right. Howard, have we got anything else to say about Back to the Future?
As I said,
the future is back.
Yeah.
If you- all I say is, if you could define me by film, I think this is going to be it.
I'm glad you picked it, Dan. I've been waiting for you to pick it.
Yeah, if you did pick it, I would have.
There's another film or two that we're waiting on him to pick.
I was going to say, if you had an eulogy of me,
An eulogy.
and you had to pick a film that kind of like summed or reminded me of, it would be Back to the Future. It's like, what film do you think of, Dan? It's going to be Back to the Future. Even my mum said that is basically me.
Instead of
film.
rest in peace, we're gonna write whoosh.
Wish.
Yeah, Humphrey. 1999.
No, no, what? 99. I'm not that young.
Ben, we're all born around the same time.
I'm 89.
I said 1989, but in Dan's
Oh, I
voice.
thought you said 99.
I thought you said
1989.
Oh. I was going to say, I was born when the second film was made.
Yeah.
I was like, no way. Oh wow.
No,
So
on
no
my-
way I'm fucking older than Humphrey. Get out.
On my tombstone, it's going to say, where we're going,
shit.
we don't need roads. That's
That's quite sweet, to be fair.
yeah.
And underneath
man,
our shit.
That's nice because when so you were born when Back to the Future came out.
Well, I don't know when second one. Back to the
Second
When
Future.
Back to the Future came out.
Future, no.
Because I was born when Jurassic Park came out, so that's kind of
Holy
neat.
shit, you're old.
Shit.
But
I'm
not
the
older
fucking
than-
youngest person here. I don't get it enough at work. Just all these people calling me fucking old.
Yeah.
Awesome. Right. Is that all for Back to the Future?
I think so.
Superb. Robert, what's your pick?
So my
Three.
pick. Oh, go on.
I was a month old when the second one came out. Sorry. I just Googled it.
That was so worth it.
It come out on the 24th of November, and I was born in the 18th of October. So I would have been a month old when the second one came out.
That is mental.
And there you go. There you go, Bob.
Right, so my pick
There you
is it's a film I've been thinking of picking a few times, and it's finally time to do it. So it's a Brian De Palma film that I've mentioned a few times. The film
fuck
is
is-
Blowout.
You're the fucking cat guy. Just
Ooh, got the same last name, man.
Yeah, Brian Emmanuel Palmer. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just spelt a little differently.
Say blowout. It's because you've had too much crap food.
I just remembered when your wedding invite went out, and then Pat went, "Oh, we got the same middle name," and I was like, "Pat Camilla Kenny."
Ooh,
You dickhead.
might need one. Fuckers. Oh, it's got. What the fuck? It's got John Travolta in it.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
the second John Travolta film.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
going to say, you say that as if we haven't already had one.
Oh shit.
John Travolta.
It's not Nicolas Cage, I'm afraid. It's John Travolta being John Travolta.
Oh, no one's making a reference. No one sees the reference I'm making.
We do.
Yeah, we do. We get it.
We do. We're just not laughing at it.
Fuck you.
Oh man, what a fucking coincidence that John
never
leaves and then we get 2 Hall of Fames.
I've never seen this film.
Well, that's good. Yeah. Hopefully you'll like it.
To be fair, Alec, he's been gone for like 11 picks.
That's true. That is true.
11
Well,
rounds.
it's the official.
Rick's been
It's
gone
the
11
official
rounds.
leaving.
Okay.
I don't mean to say like a yes.